One of the key issues facing all employers and local government is no exception to that, is finding the right employees, and when you've found them, to be able to incentivize them in the right way. And I'm delighted now to be joined by Elizabeth and Amber to talk about succession planning in local government. Welcome. Now, you produced this great report on succession planning. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one of the things that's really interesting, this report has 3 case studies: Hennepin County, Minnesota, Sunnyvale, California, and the state of Tennessee. And yet all 3 organizations have a similar approach to succession planning. They see it part of a broad portfolio of human resources strategies, and especially learning.
Now, how important is succession planning?
It's really important, especially these days. We've had quite an exodus of the baby boomers, and that's continuing. And we have more younger workers coming in who may not feel the same commitment to the organization that earlier generations did.
Okay. Amber, tell us a little bit about one of those case studies.
So one of the case studies was Hennepin County, which is in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area, and they're really seeing a lot of competition from employers in the area, and they have a low unemployment rate. So what they're doing is taking an approach to orientation that is not just a one-day orientation where you go over your employee benefits. They actually place employees in a year-long cohort where they do the one-day orientation where they learn about benefits in the organization, but then they come back on a periodic basis to meet with their cohort, not only so that HR can check in with the employee to make sure that they're adjusting well, but also so that that employee has a network to reach out to in case there are any issues, and so that they can address those issues as they occur before they become problems.
So are these techniques something that can be adopted on a more wide scale?
I would say absolutely, and I think it's a great approach. I mean, so many times employers lose an employee and only learn about what's wrong in the exit interview,
Right.
But that year-long approach where you're checking in, you're given the opportunity to really know what's going on with that employee, and you're able to intervene before it becomes a problem that makes them decide to seek employment elsewhere.
How can you disseminate this as best practice more widely?
Well, I think by having webinars, conference presentations. We're actually doing a session here at the ICMA conference on the workforce of the future. And by talking to people like you about it, because frankly, media is a really important way for people to learn about these things.
I'd also add that we have the report and we'll have the video from the webinar on our website, www.slge.org/research/workforce. So anyone who wants to download the report will be more than welcome to find it there.
And my final question is this part of actually making working in local government aspirational? Because we're talking about bringing young people into local government to make their careers there. So how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I do think the aspirational part's very important. In the case of Sunnyvale, California, which is one of the cases, there's a lot of focus on new employee orientation, just as Amber described in Hennepin County. But in the case of Sunnyvale, they create a professional development plan. From day one, it's filed with Human Resources. Then that becomes the basis for developing their career and perhaps creating a pool of qualified candidates who can move into these top jobs as they become available.
Well, thank you both very much indeed for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And best of luck with the report. Thank you.